What if owning land wasn't about a financial decision? What if it was a return to wholeness? In modern societies, land has been reduced to numbers on a deed, property value, profit margins. But for our ancestors, land was never just about money. It was about memory, belonging, and a sacred inheritance. Today, we're going to explore how reclaiming land is more than just a transaction. It is about legacy, it's about healing, and it's about restoring identity. Great awakening, magnificent people. I am Jazmian D. Thank you so much for joining the Generational Rhodium. It is the healing component of HWPLP. HWPLP stands for Health, Wealth, Prosperity, Love, Peace. We are a movement-driven investment firm committed to building generational wealth through healing, collective economics, real estate, and venture capital. We empower individuals to heal financially, build wealth strategically, and cultivate thriving and prosperous communities rooted in love and peace. Please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And visit our website at HWPLP.com to learn more about the movement and to sign up for our mailing list and stay connected. This episode ties to our newsletter entitled Healing the Block by Owning the Block. Now let's get into this. Land is more than soil. It carries memory, ancestors, and belonging. Indigenous and African and diaspora traditions make land sacred in its inheritance. It's not a commodity. When we are disconnected from the land, we lose more than just the property. We lose identity, our rootedness, and our lineage security. Displacement is more than just an economic loss. First, you have the loss of grounding. Land is proof of belonging. When people are uprooted, it sends the message that you don't deserve to stay or you don't deserve permanence. Over time, families internalize instability and they believe that ownership is just not for them. Next, you have interrupted lineage. Land is where ancestors planted, prayed, and passed down wisdom. When displacement severed that chain, rituals and stories, they scattered. Future generations inherit absence instead of presence. Next, you have severed spirit connections. Spiritually, land is a living altar. It is where you hear the voices of your ancestors. It is where you stand in a sacred inheritance. The truth is, when the land is insecure, the spirit feels insecure. The severing of Black communities from land didn't just start with gentrification. It has repeated across generations. First, it was slavery, where we were forced to cultivate land we could never own. Then sharecropping, where families worked on soil and fed others wealth and rarely secured their own. Then later came redlining, and our Black neighborhoods were outlined on a red map and denied loans and investments, even if people were credit worthy. Then there was Section 8, where you're provided shelter, but you're kept in this repetitive cycle of renting, dividing your family, and being cut off from ownership and equity. Each stage sends the same message. You don't deserve permanence. You don't deserve to stay. That wound echoes today. Where redlining once denied investments, gentrification now floods neighborhoods with it, but not for the original community. Developers, they buy the homes, taxes raise, rent skyrocket, and families, the heartbeat of those communities, they're uprooted, erased, and replaced. An example is the Royal family from North Carolina. They had inherited, since the Reconstruction era, 65 acres of coastal land. And because it was inherited by so many descendants, one distant relative sold 13 acres of waterfront property to developers without the consent of their other relatives. So courts declared two brothers who were currently living on that land and had lived on that land their whole entire life, trespassers. And Lee Curtis Wells and Melvin Davis, they ended up spending 8 years in jail for refusing to leave their land. Not for a crime, but because they were defending their legacy. The documentary, Silver Dollar Road, it tells their story. And it shows us something bigger. Slavery, sharecropping, redlining, Section 8, and today gentrification are all different faces of the same oppression. They disconnect us from our land, and when the land is insecure, identity, legacy, spirit, they feel insecure too. Real estate treats land as a commodity, something to flip, something to speculate on. But land is legacy and inheritance. It is rooted. It belongs. It is sovereignty. When we reclaim land, we reclaim dignity. We reclaim lineage. We reclaim sovereignty. This is another great story of 19 Black families that pool resources together to purchase 100 acres of land in Toomsboro, Georgia in 2020. They named it Freedom, Georgia. It is a safe haven to build homes, farms, businesses, and most importantly, legacy. And in 2021, they expanded to 400 acres. This is not speculation. This is reclamation. Owning land isn't about domination. It's about remembering. Now let's take a moment to pause. This will be a 4-4-6. Easy breathing. Inhale, exhale, 4-4, and out. Exhale. Inhale, hold, 4-4. Exhale, slowly at a 6. And during this, I will say some affirmations. And at the end, please keep your eyes closed or keep your gaze softened so we can do a very brief visualization. Let's get started. Inhale. Hold. Exhale, nice and slow. Inhale, I root into legacy. Hold. This land remembers me. Exhale, I reclaim my birthright today. Inhale, I root into legacy. Hold. This land remembers me. Exhale, I reclaim my birthright today. See roots extending from your feet into the soil, connecting with your ancestors, connecting with their words, with their wisdom, with their knowledge. You are not rootless. You are part of a living lineage. Thank you. Now let's move forward. So how do we move forward? It's a few ways that we can. We can use trust-held stewardship, which protects land through family, trust, and community land trust. We can do collective economics, where we pool resources to acquire land. And it gives us opportunities to build our own homes, our own farm, to have our own farms, our own businesses, sanctuaries, whatever we want. We can also do a sacred use, dedicating land to wellness, to culture, to community gatherings. So after hearing this, ask yourself, what is my family's land story? Is it a story of gained, or is it a story of lost? And if you had land today, What sacred purpose would you dedicate to it? Yes, land builds wealth. It appreciates. It produces income. But beyond money, land is soul wealth. It gives stability. It gives identity. It gives sovereignty. Healing sanctuaries, community farms, cultural hubs. Some examples. Also, you can have economic meetings. At HWPLP, this is our vision. Land as the foundation of generational wealth, healing, and peace. Land is not just dirt beneath our feet. It's memory, it's healing, it's legacy. When we reclaim land, we reclaim ourselves. Let's close with the HWPLP affirmation. Heal mind, body, and soul. Build wealth that is your birthright. Live in full prosperity. Love unconditionally. And live in a state of peace. And so it is. And so I am. And so it be. I want to thank you so much for joining me for the Generational Rhodium. I am Jazmian D with HWPLP, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, peace, love, and light. Thank you.